Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. We're happy to welcome you to a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. We thank you very much for following us this far. When we started this show, we said we wanted to give you a voice. Why? Because we realized that pretty much Africans are invisible. Nobody sees us. So we wanted people to see you and to hear you because you need to contribute. Even when Africans met the French President Emmanuel Macron, one of the problems with Franc-Afrique was that Africans were never at the table. The French made decisions for Africans. For the first time, we are giving you a position at the table so you can sit and people hear you. Already, we can see signs that you have been heard all over the world. You send us a lot of information. We share this information with the world, and we can see that people are watching and listening. This is a very good sign. The purpose of this show, we told you, is to raise your level of perception from a pedestrian to the realm of higher consciousness, okay? And this is actually happening, and we like what we see because we realize that decolonization must continue. This is a process we cannot let stall. It has to continue. The decolonization of the African continent, we have to decolonize our minds. So socially, that's the first stage of the process of decolonization. The mind, the African mind, we need to decolonize it. Indigenization, we have to start looking at what we have in our own traditions, then try to make this anew, okay? So we are looking at historical preoccupations. Where do we find ourselves as Africans today? That's what I call historical preoccupations. Are we happy with our lot as Africans, African Americans, West Indians? Are we happy with where we find ourselves in history? No, we are not. So we are faced with the issue of self-consciousness. We are aware of our plight in the world. When we look at the whole Caucasian scheme, Africans are at the bottom of the totem pole. They look at us like people who are unimportant. But we say no. We want to change the status quo. We want for the world to know that Africans are important, and we can show the world that we're important by doing things, okay? By liberating ourselves, which is the purpose of this channel. First, we want to help you to overcome mental slavery, as Bob Marley used to say. Overcome mental slavery, so you start thinking on your own. Then from social freedom, we start looking at political freedom, then economic freedom. So all those are the goals that we've set for this channel. Last week, we told you we just don't want to be talking politics every week. We're going to come with a live show, and we're making preparations for next month to start the live show in addition to the traditional show. The traditional show is going to always be there once a week. We'll do it, but once in a while, we'll come up with the live show to give you the opportunity to comment and to educate you on business aspects, things that can help you gain skills. And we're looking for a few good Africans who can think, because we want to start building this new movement with people who have skills. Then we'll show you how to take advantage of these skills to make a living for yourself and your family. So we're not joking, unlike other channels where you watch, you smile, you laugh. We just don't want you to laugh and smile. We want you to take your life seriously, to change your life for the better, because we know that our people are suffering. In fact, when we start talking about suffering, we take you straight to Ambazonia. The people of Ambazonia are suffering. There's a whole lot of war crimes being committed in Ambazonia. It's like a gamble. Mr. Paul Biya is like a poker player. You've heard of the game of poker. Shakespeare used to say all the world is a stage, but to us, we think all the world is a casino. And you have people who are poker players. They play, they win, they lose, they play, they win, they lose. But in this instance, Mr. Paul Biya, the poker player, is playing and losing the game in Ambazonia. And it's sad. Like a typical loser, he doesn't want to accept defeat. He wants to fight. He wants to win. Because of the desperation of winning, he's fighting and losing, fighting and losing. He doesn't even want to accept reality. In the book, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, the Chinese author, when you want to fight in a war, you want to use logic, not emotions. From what we see, Mr. Paul Biya is using but emotions rather than logic in this war. When you use emotion, you lose. And that's the sad part of what I see now in Ambazonia. Today, I'm going to show you pictures of the visit of Ferdinand Gongo, the Secretary General of the colonial La République du Cameroun. He was visiting Biya. Interestingly, last week we spoke about Biya because little Caroline was killed by a gendarme Mvogo in this town. We spoke about it. This week, people were really surprised to see images of Ferdinand Gongo with a lot of soldiers following him. Then people were holding the flag of La République du Cameroun. People were really surprised that they were clapping for Gongo. But you have to understand, some people were even asking me, like even when I look at Shidno Wiblas, my country people were saying, where are the Amber boys? Well, you have to understand that the type of war that is going on in Ambazonia is not a traditional war. It's not a war where you have two traditional armies standing face to face. No. You have a traditional army, which is very big. The people of La République for over 60 years have been taking money from the Ambazonia area. Then they have been building a large army. So they've used all these resources from the southern Cameroons to build a very large army. Now, the Ambazonia restoration fighters are challenging this army. They realize that this army is bigger than them, but they are using guerrilla tactics, because the way Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, when you realize that you are fighting a bigger army, you have to look at a few things. First, you have to look at strategy. You look at tactics, okay? The traditional army is used to fighting another army, but the Ambazonia restoration fighters are not a traditional army. They are guerrilla fighters. So they don't just come face to face with the army. They choose when to fight and when to retreat. So this is what my country people need to learn. As dull as he is, he should know that these people choose when to fight and when to run away. And this is the way they wear down a big traditional army. The folks in Afghanistan have shown us how this works in modern times. A few months ago, you saw what happened. The United States of America, with the best army in the world, withdrew from Afghanistan. Why? Because they came to the realization that logically, with all the weapons they have, they cannot defeat a people. Interestingly, in La République du Cameroun, Paul Biya still has a few people deceiving him, telling him he can win the war in Ambazonia militarily. But we know it's not really possible because we've looked at the facts on the ground. And this week, we also received a lot of intelligence for this show. A lot of the fighters on the ground have been calling us, have been talking to us. They've been giving us a picture of what is really happening on the ground. Some of the information for security purposes, we cannot really air it on this show, but we've received a whole lot of intelligence from a lot of fighters on the ground, ground zero, then even in ground one. Some fighters have been calling us from ground one, telling us what is happening.
The 21 of October 2021, now Commander Man Body talk. The restoration forces.
Go there, na man boy that. Na then that way don't key that motor for Momo, ARM Momo, yeah. Now motor give on here, then we don't burn them. I say we don't talk, sir. Siam, we don't tell una, sir. Wait, I say man boy. Usa check out today. Una bring that check out that two kalashem. Na military motor di we don't burn as well. Na lot the talk so lot. Yes, a lot that the talk so in a man boy.
Yes. Una come. Wait. Una come. Follow. Una follow. Una move up. Move that granite. Move am. Una move out that granite. Una move am. Una move am. Yes. Una take am. Una take all thing. Una move out thing. Follow that man. Una follow that man. Una follow. Una take magazine. Una carry am.
So we have a very clear picture of what is really happening in this part of the world. So do not allow images of the pomp and pageantry of the visit of Ferdinand Gongo to deceive you. Take a look at pictures of Ferdinand Gongo in this visit, okay? As you know, the purpose of this visit is to inspect the CAN facilities. That's the football game that's going to be played in La République du Cameroon in a few months. It's 2022, in January, games will start. But how is this going to go? We don't even think this is going to go well, but we'll reserve a lot of comments and we'll ask you to watch, okay? So, but you can see a whole lot of action. So don't be deceived. What we see here is Mr. Paul Biya is like a poker player. He gambles and he loses, but he still wants to gamble. We've seen how this works in casinos. Personally, I've been to many casinos in the United States. I've been to casinos in Las Vegas. I've been to casinos in Atlantic City. And I see the way people behave when they are losing. They make them come in. Then after they get tired, they lose. Then by the time they leave, they are very despondent. But they just want to keep playing. Because I've been to casinos with friends who love to gamble. So most of the time, I'll make sure that I decide how much I want to lose. I say, okay, I'll just lose $100 a day. After I lose $100, I call it quits. But they will continue playing until they lose everything. Sometimes they will come with their mortgage. Sometimes they will come with money for their rents. They will gamble all of this away, then they return home with nothing. And this is typical of Mr. Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon. This is what his handlers in France are making him do. They are making him to continue gambling, even though he's losing. They're encouraging him to continue gambling. Because when you look at the actions on the ground, you really see the futility of fighting in Ambazonia.
Yes, today, the 21st of October 2021, this one are the materials with the ARF for Momo, they don't collect them, led by Commander Tornado and Manboy. We start things on the 19th with them for Ngi. We collect them one Kalash with 5 extra mag.
Yes, today the 21 of October 2021. Now the thing that this with the restoration forces from Momo, they don't take them. Now they this the first one will they be receiving from the back away one pass. We don't take one chain cutter, one more Kalash again plus the Kalash will be don't take them.
The one at the Kalash will don't take them.
Yeah.
We magazine them.
Now they this.
Now bullet and do the loader.
Yes. There are so many actions that took place this week and we want to share them with you. In one video, you can see the Amber Boys destroying an armored vehicle with a new type of IEDs, improvised explosive devices that they've just invented. These are very lethal, better than anything they've had before.
Yeah, the baby killers of La Republic are coming closer. Today, the 24th. The 24th. The baby killers of La Republic. You can see them coming. Yes, we have just bombed one Amoka. Yeah. The baby killers. Today is the 24th of October, and this is Boyo today. Boyo under the command of Supreme General Gilles. You can see one Amoka. It is standing.
The environment is very, very chaotic, so you can really see that this is war. This is not really a video game. The guys are really fighting valiantly and trying to destroy this vehicle. And these are the guys from Momo, so the restoration forces from Momo. Then, of course, we have another video of the restoration forces from Oku. This is a mountainous area where the former Prime Minister, Philemon came from. Here he comes from Oku. This mountainous area also was the subject of attack. The Ambazonia restoration forces pinned down some of these colonial forces from La République du Cameroun. They pinned them down and they could not really move. We'll have the videos to show. Before, whenever the restoration forces used to kill people in this militia of La République du Cameroun, people used to say it was a lie. But today, you guys are sending us the pictures and the videos, so we can use this as evidence.
on the 20th.
Nobody can say this is a lie because the pictures are just so many, and we'll have more pictures to show you. You can even see the hunt for No Piri, Field Marshal No Piri is on. They've come up with different stories. Oh, we've caught Field Marshal No Piri. The hunt for just one guy. Everybody is just going crazy because they're looking for Field Marshal No Piri. War is lethal. We know that there are losses on both sides, but we just want Mr. Biya and his handlers to come to their senses. They should stop listening to their French masters. If you continue listening to their French masters, they're going to take themselves to hell. Because right now, Ambazonia has become hell for the militia from La République du Cameroun. Are they going to listen to us, or what's going to happen? Well, it's left to them to listen. Because if they don't want to listen, they will continue having more violence and more people dying. So we saw pictures, even this week, we saw that more and more innocent civilians are being killed. We show you pictures of the militia from La République. They are really burning houses. They are burning houses with joyful abandon. Is this fair? Is this the way you fight a war? So the civilians have become victims in this war. Normally, in a war, La République's propaganda is that they are fighting to protect civilians. This is a fat lie from the bottom of hell, from the pit of hell. If you are fighting to protect civilians, then why are you killing innocent civilians in cold blood? Because of the censorship of YouTube, we can only show you pictures of the victims, people who are being killed in cold blood by La République du Cameroun. There are so many, even this week. We saw pictures of so many innocent civilians who are just killed in cold blood. Women. If you say men or the young men are targets, why do you make innocent women targets? They are carrying no weapons. Why are you killing the women? So these are questions that you guys are asking me to ask La République du Cameroun. Why are you killing innocent women from La République du Cameroun? As we're coming to the studio to tape this show today, we saw so many pictures of women and children killed for no good reason, just because they come from the southern Cameroon's area. They're killing them. So this is a form of ethnic cleansing. But we're just worrying because so far this week things are really getting bad. They are moving from bad to worse, and soon they'll get worse. Okay? It looks like the Anglophones who are in the Francophone area are being told by their people to relocate. You remember what happened during the Nigerian Biafran War? When the Biafrans, the Igbos, they started moving away from the north back to their homeland. What happened? What happened was not pretty. So already most of the restoration forces are advising their people who are in the Francophone areas to return to Ambazonia, because the plan they have for the future is really going to be gory, because they're going to start targeting Francophones who are in Ambazonia, because it looks like that's the plan that is in the works. The military will not be able to protect these Francophones who are in Anglophone areas, and we're just sorry that things are going to really get ugly. If the international community is still holding Mr. Biya with kid gloves, France is going to really pay the price, because France will not protect them, because they will start targeting them. Then eventually the French also will become targets from what we're saying. It's very, very sad, but we're just predicting, because as a show, we know what is happening. We've gathered a lot of intelligence, and we're telling you all of this based on the intelligence we've gathered on the ground. And we think those who have ears, let them listen to us. Those who have eyes, let them see and take precautions, because war is not good, and the way this war is being waged is very, very terrible.
Yeah, with the Southern Cameroon Defense Force, SUCADEF, today the 20th of September, we are attacking the land for big convoy. The general transport alive.
Even the Catholic Church, like Archbishop at Nkea, we saw a picture where he also was asking the government of La République du Cameroon that the colonial government should stop this war because the civilians, innocent Christians, are bearing the brunt of this war. So we think it's time for the government of La République du Cameroon to think. If they don't want to think and take corrective action, then eventually, from what we see, the United States will be forced to take unilateral action against La République. They will not even listen to what France has to say. You saw what happened in Iraq. France had deals with the government of Saddam Hussein. But what happened? When America realized that it was time to really take down this government of Saddam Hussein, they just ignored the French and went in. France made a lot of noise. As usual, France makes noise, but America doesn't listen. America will just ignore France because they know that France has just one military aircraft. France is not even as big as California in terms of military power. But France makes a lot of noise because they've given France a seat at the Security Council of the United Nations, and they exploit that to the core. That's what they use to exploit African countries. And we think this has to come to an end, and which is why we're educating you to learn and know what to do so that we can handle this parasitic nation called France. Franc-Afrique has to come to an end, and we think we're really doing a good job to really educate you on this. So next, we're going to move to Nigeria. The first story we'll look at in Nigeria, the biggest story so far, which is really drawing a lot of attention, you look at all the headlines, is the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is a freedom fighter. He is the hero of Biafra. He was arrested a few months ago in Kenya, and he was returned to Nigeria to face trial. But Nigeria cannot even give him a fair trial because the DSS and other government forces will not even let lawyers to get in to witness the trial. And how do you think Nnamdi Kanu is going to get a free trial? So you see, the whole trial is getting a lot of coverage. In fact, it was even adjourned. We think President Buhari should have listened to former President Obasanjo. By keeping Nnamdi Kanu in jail, President Buhari is turning him into a hero. I'm not saying Nnamdi Kanu is not a hero of the Biafran people, but I'm saying that for the sake of Nigeria's unity, it is a good idea for Mr. Buhari to free Nnamdi Kanu. Let him express himself. Former President Obasanjo even said back in 2017 that a better way to handle this dude is to engage him in dialogue. What is wrong with you? What are you worried about? What is making you uncomfortable? What do your people of Biafra, what do they want? Let's sit and talk. We are brothers. Let's negotiate. That's the best way to handle this problem. But Mr. Buhari thinks that militarization is the best solution. And this is a stupid way to think, because we think it's not a good way to solve this problem. Militarization is not going to win. And you can see the limit of militarization because it becomes a tit for tat. You hit me, I hit you. And that's what is happening now. So you can even see this week, as we are coming to the studio to tape this show, you can see a prison break in Oyo State. You guys know Oyo State. There's a prison break, and we understand over 500 prisoners escaped. They tried to rearrest some of them, but they are gone. So what do you think is going to happen after this prison outbreak? What is going to happen is more criminal elements are loose in the world of Nigeria. So they're going to be committing more crimes. Why do you think they broke these prisons to free them? Because they wanted them to come and participate in criminal activities. So Mr. Buhari has just made it possible for more prisoners to roam the streets of Nigeria. We think it is time for Mr. Buhari to start using the carrot. We've said this many times on this show. The stick is not the only instrument that you can use to solve a problem. The carrot may even work out better in this instance. Sit down with these people, engage them. If you don't have time because you are sick or you are feeble, get your assistants to help to engage these people. It will solve a whole lot of problems for Nigeria if you can sit with them and find out what is wrong with them, and they'll be able to tell you what the problem is, and this will solve a whole lot of problems. Okay? So we think this is what Mr. Buhari needs to do, because this is a serious problem. The prisoners are going to continue creating more problems. And of course, the Boko Haram issue is not really going away. You saw the way they broke into a military base, and they made away with a whole lot of weapons. So where's the security, Mr. Buhari? You keep arguing, and arguing. But the proof is there. The insecurity is there. You don't know what you're doing. On the good side, we're going to talk about the introduction of the digital currency in Nigeria. This is something positive. It's definitely going to help the economy. So we think we should really salute something the Buhari government has done, which is positive. The introduction of the digital currency. The Naira is a good idea. And we know it's very tough to maintain a free currency like Nigeria. It's better than being under the slavery of the French franc. With all the fluctuations, I think it's still a better idea for Nigeria to have their own currency. It gives them true sovereignty. It's true, it comes with a lot of shocks, but let's absorb those shocks and keep moving. Next, we want to take you to Sierra Leone. But before we hit a lot of the stories in Sierra Leone, we want to remind you that all is not well in Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed is still fighting and bombing Mekelle and the Tigray people up north. Is that good? We think we don't like what we see there, and we want inquiring minds to talk about it and share this information with their friends. When we talk about Sierra Leone, we're really happy with the president, Mada Bio. He's really doing a good job, and we think he's helping bring about gender equality, which is one of the promises or the pledges he made in his campaign in 2018. So he wants more females, probably 30% of the cabinet to be made up of females. We think this is a positive sign, and we encourage it. We're feminists. We think it's a good idea to encourage racial parity and gender parity. So we bring this, it's a very positive sign, and we think President Mada Bio of Sierra Leone is doing something which we should applaud him for. We like it, because when more women get into the workforce, it's something positive. So if the cabinet makes itself available to more women, we think that's a better sign for more women to get in the cabinet, which is very, very good. 30% of the cabinet should be made of women. We may even say, why not 50? Because equality means 50-50. So we want more women to get into government. And we think sometimes women are better negotiators and better managers. Okay? We think we've come to the end of our show, and we want to say thank you, but watch the show and share it with your friends. Thank you very much.
Is your EMR EHR COVID-19 ready? If not, you do not know what you are missing. Why do you suffer in silence? Be smart. Turn to Alexia HTC today. Alexia HTC is the leader in virtual solution and communication technology in these times of pandemic crisis. When the unexpected happens, who are you going to call? Alexia HTC. Come and see how Alexia HTC Cloud Communications are enabling your fellow healthcare providers to consult with patients virtually and making big money. Alexia HTC also enables your employees to work remotely during the COVID-19 crisis. Are your employees safe? Do not jeopardize the health and safety of your patients and practice. What can Alexia HTC do for you? Alexia HTC is the new Colossus, the sister of physicians, who gives you back liberty, that is, the freedom to practice medicine your way. Vivacious virtual visits wherever you please. Amazing e-prescribing. Quick access to patient information. Easy access to medical records from other providers. Rapid drug allergy checks. Integrated lab tests and results. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled doctors yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your greedy corporations. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed physicians, to me. I give them the refuge. The happy home of Alexia HTC. Act now. Browse alexiahtc.com or call 240-350-1131.
Medical practice software is too old. Indeed, all the programs are built on MUMPS, technology of the 1950s, and the programs cost too much money. Epic and Cerner cost billions of dollars. Meditech costs thousands of dollars too. In fact, that's why we created AlexiaHTC.com, a new and free EMR/EHR for doctors. AlexiaHTC.com is built for HIPAA. Yes, magical one-screen technology, ease of use, quick charting, amazing e-prescribing, tight labs integration, multi-office difference, because we believe doctors and patients need a break today. Be the first to test drive AlexiaHTC.com. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Act now. Call 240-350-1131. Alexia Care Corporation at AlexiaHTC.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.